The screen doesn't open with a flag or a proud anthem, but with failure. In 1776, America was not powerful, not rich, and not respected. It was a fragile experiment, 13 poor colonies, standing up against the most powerful empire on earth. No navy to rule the seas. No gold-filled treasury, no global allies waiting to help. And yet, less than 2 centuries later, this same nation would command the world's strongest military, control the global financial system, shape culture across continents, and influence almost every major decision on earth. This is not the story of a natural-born giant. It is the story of how a weak nation learned to turn disadvantage into dominance, how chaos became strategy, and how moments of crisis became stepping stones to power. To understand how America became a superpower, we first need to understand what a superpower truly is. It is not just about tanks, bombs, or soldiers. True power is the ability to shape the world without conquering it, the power to make others follow your rules, use your currency, trust your markets, and consume your culture. America's rise was different from the empires before it. Britain ruled through colonies, Spain through gold, and Rome through legions. America rose through industry, finance, innovation, and perfectly timed wars. It didn't dominate by occupying the world, but by positioning itself at the center of it. This journey was not smooth, and it was never guaranteed. America faced civil war, economic collapse, global depression, and existential threats. Many times, it stood on the edge of failure. But again and again, global disasters that destroyed others somehow strengthened the United States. While Europe burned in 2 world wars, American factories roared. While old empires collapsed under their own weight, America inherited leadership of a broken world. Was this genius planning, or was it history's greatest accident? In this video, we will trace that incredible transformation, from rebellious colonies to industrial giant, from reluctant participant in world affairs to the undisputed leader of the global order. We will explore the hidden advantages of geography, the silent power of money, the brutal lessons of war, and the decisions that locked America into its dominant position. By the end, you won't just understand how America became a superpower, you'll understand why its rise changed the world forever, and why its future may be the most important question of our time. In 1776, the United States was born into weakness. 13 colonies declared independence from the most powerful empire on earth. But freedom did not come with strength. America had no real army, no navy, no money, and no unified identity. The Revolutionary War was not a clean victory. It was messy, desperate, and nearly lost many times. Soldiers went unpaid, supplies ran out, and morale collapsed repeatedly. Victory came not because America was strong, but because Britain was far away, exhausted, and distracted by wars elsewhere. After independence, the situation barely improved. The new nation was drowning in debt, states argued constantly, and foreign powers expected the American experiment to fail. Under the Articles of Confederation, the federal government was almost powerless. There was no stable currency, no authority to tax, and no way to enforce laws. America looked less like a rising power and more like a temporary rebellion waiting to collapse. But hidden within this chaos was something revolutionary, a system designed to adapt. The U.S. Constitution created a strong central government, while protecting individual freedom. Power was divided, not concentrated. Leadership could change without bloodshed. This political stability era in history became America's first true weapon. While other nations rose through kings and conquest, America built a structure that could survive failure, disagreement, and crisis. The foundation of superpower status was laid not through strength, but through resilience. America's greatest ally was not a general or a president, it was geography. Protected by 2 vast oceans, the United States was almost impossible to invade. While European powers constantly fought wars on shared borders, America grew in relative peace. No hostile empires sat next door. No ancient rivals waited across land borders. This natural security allowed the U.S. to focus inward in growth, expansion, and development. The land itself was a treasure. Endless fertile soil, massive river systems, forests, coal, iron, and oil, all within one continent. Rivers like the Mississippi became natural highways, connecting farms to cities and ports. Resources that European empires fought wars over were freely available inside American borders. This allowed rapid economic growth without foreign dependence. Westward expansion multiplied this advantage. Through purchases, treaties, and wars, America expanded coast to coast. Each new territory meant more land, more resources, and more opportunity. While morally complex and often brutal, especially for Native Americans, this expansion transformed the US into a continental giant. Most importantly, geography bought time. While Europe burned through revolutions and wars, America learned, experimented, and prepared. By the time the world truly noticed the United States, it was already too big, too rich, and too secure to stop. As America expanded, it faced its greatest internal threat: division. Slavery split the nation economically, politically, and morally. The Civil War was not just a battle over slavery. It was a test of whether the United States could survive at all. Many believed the country would shatter permanently. The war was devastating. More Americans died than in any other conflict. Cities burned, economies collapsed, and the nation nearly tore itself apart. But when the war ended, something extraordinary happened. The Union survived. The federal government emerged stronger than ever. Slavery was abolished, and the idea of one indivisible nation was cemented. This moment changed America forever. Surviving the Civil War proved that the United States was not a temporary alliance, but a permanent state. It also accelerated industrialization. Railroads expanded, factories multiplied, and federal authority increased. No superpower is born without surviving an existential crisis. For America, the Civil War was that trial by fire. It transformed a loose collection of states into a unified nation, capable of projecting power. After the Civil War, America didn't just recover, it exploded. Factories replaced farms as the engine of the economy. Steel, oil, railroads, and electricity reshaped daily life. Cities grew upward and outward. Immigration flooded the workforce, with millions of laborers hungry for opportunity. By the early 1900s, the United States had become the world's largest industrial economy. It produced more steel than Britain and Germany combined. American corporations learned to scale faster, produce cheaper, and innovate relentlessly. Wealth concentrated, inequality grew, but power followed production. Industry meant influence. Money meant leverage. America no longer needed colonies, it sold goods, loans, and technology instead. By 1914, the United States was already an economic superpower. The world just hadn't realized it yet. When World War I erupted, America stayed out at first. While Europe destroyed itself, American factories supplied both sides. Weapons, food, steel, and loans poured across the Atlantic. The US grew richer, while others grew weaker. When America finally entered the war, it tipped the balance instantly. Fresh troops, endless supplies, and industrial power overwhelmed exhausted enemies. But the real victory came after the war. Europe owed America money. The US emerged as the world's creditor. Power had shifted, quietly, permanently. The 1930s nearly destroyed America's rise. Markets collapsed, banks failed, and millions lost everything. Faith in capitalism itself wavered. But instead of collapse, the US adapted. The New Deal expanded federal power, stabilized institutions, and modernized infrastructure. America learned how to manage crisis at scale. That lesson would soon matter more than anyone imagined. World War II made America a superpower in reality, not theory. While Europe and Asia were reduced to rubble, American factories ran non-stop tanks, planes, ships. America became the arsenal of democracy. The war ended with the US economy untouched, its military unmatched, and its nuclear power uncontested. No empire in history had emerged from war stronger than before until now. After World War II, America didn't conquer it. Organized Bretton Woods made the dollar the world's currency. Institutions like the IMF and World Bank placed America at the center of global finance. Money became power, and America controlled the system. Against the Soviet Union, America fought with influence, technology, alliances, and ideology. NATO, military bases, media, culture power, without occupation. When the USSR collapsed, America stood alone at the top. Today, America remains dominant but challenged. Debt, rivals, internal division. History shows superpowers rise, peak, and fall. The real question isn't how America became a superpower. It's whether it can remain one. History shows us a simple but uncomfortable truth. Superpowers are not born, they are shaped by moments of crisis. America did not rise because it was perfect, or even because it was always strong. It rose because it survived when others collapsed, adapted when others resisted change, and learned how to turn chaos into opportunity. From weak colonies protected by oceans, to an industrial giant fueled by innovation, to the center of a world rebuilt after war. America's power was never just about armies or money, it was about timing, systems, and strategy. But history also warns us that no position at the top lasts forever. Every empire believes its dominance is permanent. It isn't. The story of America as a superpower is still being written, and its next chapter will be decided not by past victories, but by how it responds to the challenges ahead. The real question is no longer how America became a superpower, but whether it can remain one.